Okay, perfect. So now we're live on YouTube. I will explain a few things about Talk and Talk before we start. As you know, we are a conversation platform where you can come here and talk in a lot of languages. Today, we're speaking in English about homelessness. So let's start with the first question. Is homelessness a major problem in your city or town? How do you know? In my city, it's not a huge problem. This is a small city, but where I used to live in Rio, it was a big problem. Everywhere you go, there was someone living on the streets. Then it was a huge problem. And they died a lot. It was a problem. They died a lot on the streets. And where you live, Mariana, is homelessness a major problem?
I don't think so, because since I arrived here, I never saw some homeless, because most of I don't know, but when you see a person, eu não sei como falar, suja or something like that, you can't, you identified like homeless, but I never saw some person like that.
But they're in República Checa, right?
Yeah.
In here where you lived in Brazil, have you ever seen?
Yes, all the time. Traffic lights, semáforos, né? Children together. Yes, I thought it's a big problem in Brazil. I saw most of the time when I lived there.
Perfect. And you, Hugo, is homelessness a major problem in your city or town?
I believe.
Hugo, you're muted yourself. I could only hear, I believe.
I believe you can hear me now.
Yes.
I believe that homeless is the big problem everywhere. They look, and the problem they hungry. Problema da fome, né? Tá muito semelhante ali. But here in my city, in my town, that is the problem, the homeless. I can see people on streets, sleeping on the streets and front the banks and praças.
Squares.
Squares. Okay, in the squares. So here, tem 130,000 people in my city. Então, so small, ok? 130 mil habitantes aqui na minha cidade e ainda assim tem esse problema.
Yeah, here my city is small and we don't have that problem, but I guess when you live in a developed place, lugar pouco mais desenvolvido, there's this problem, né? It's a problem of like urban areas, né? Problema mais de uma área mais urbana, né? Here it's more like countryside, né? Bem interior, bem roça. Aí não tem esse problema. But like if you live near a urban town or a city developed, you're going to see people living on the streets. And it's normal, né?
But if the city, the town is development, don't see. Não era para existir, né? Se era desenvolvido.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking like São Paulo, for example. São Paulo is really developed, like it's a big city. And then there is the highest number of people living on the streets in Brazil. So like it's a developed place with homelessness. So
Homeless, it's like cigano? Não, né?
No, it's like mendigo, like you live on the street. I don't know if Cigano live on the streets. I don't know.
Because here, most of the people talking about Roma people, is they call ciganos como Roma people, and they don't like because they live in every place and use the attachment from government, so they don't like. Então, minha pergunta foi só para saber se era a mesma coisa. Eu acho que não, né?
Yeah, like
Não sei.
when you live on the streets, do they live on the streets? I don't know if they live on the streets. Porque eu nunca vi um cigano. Isso é uma coisa muito europeu, aí eu não sei o que é, não. Eu nunca vi. Então, eu não sei se mora na rua. Do they live on the streets or they have a house?
I thought they don't have a house. They live in the
Então,
cars or home.
motorhome?
Yes, and they stop someplace and stay there for a long time and use the things from the country or state, sei lá.
They're like
Então é diferente.
nomads.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, I don't know if they fit as homeless, but I think they're just nomads. Like they have a house, can be like a car, but they have a house. Then they move themselves. I guess it's different when you live on the streets. Of course, if you don't have this problem there, this will be a problem too. So, I guess it's different, but I don't know because I've never seen. But that I will search. Maybe there is a research about that. So let's go to question number 2. Where do homeless people live? Like, we know they live on the streets. Like, where? Because there are a lot of places that people are putting things so they can't sleep there. For example, in São Paulo, they put some I don't know how to say that, some pointy things, umas coisas pontudas in benches, né, nos bancos so homeless people can't sleep there. So like it depends. Where I used to live, there was a bridge, que era viaduto, né? Não era uma ponte, era viaduto, and then they used to sleep under it because like there was like a huge community of homeless people there that they used to live in that place. And where do homeless people live? Where you live, Hugo?
Live on the streets.
But
In my opinion, in my vision, live in the streets, Siki Charla, a bridge, and squares. So about the Ciganos, I believe that the homeless more advanced. Eles têm um acampamento, eles são mais organizados, né? They are much more organization. And tem um acampamento, pelos filmes que se tem nos filmes, né? Tem uma organização entre eles ali. So, se eles são homeless, eles são mais organizados, né? São mais avançados um pouco.
Perfect. I guess they help each other more than homeless people, so they can have a better life. And you, Mariana, where do homeless people live? Like, as you could see, where you live here in Brazil, where do they live?
Usually someone abandoned house or on the bridge, squares, banks. I don't know if the banks is like banks for... É a mesma coisa, não sei se banco de sentar ou é banco de dinheiro, mas banks.
Benches é banco de sentar, banks é banco de dinheiro.
Como que é o de sentar?
Benches. Let me write here for you. Benches.
Okay.
Like this.
Okay, so they live in that place. Sometimes the persons sit in a banks and stay there for days and days in the squares, you know. and take that banks like your house.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some people living on squares too. Like they just grab a place on the square, grab benches or like something, and then they keep there like for a long time. And it's kind of sad, right? But that's what happens.
Yeah, I thought in the park spaces too. Sometimes that places they are cobertura, so they can't live there for one night, for example. During the day, they go for traffic lights, ask for money, and the night go back to there for sleep.
Yeah, that's true. So let's go to question number 3. What stereotypes are associated with homelessness? Why is that so? Like there is one that everybody thinks that every homeless people use drugs. It's a stereotype, right? Because not everybody who lives on the streets use drugs. Can be the majority. I'm not saying that they don't use, but I'm saying that not everyone. Né? And then it's a stereotype. So let's see if you can think of others. Né? Mariana, what stereotypes are associated with homelessness?
Like say the drug users and maybe the people think they are there because they want, but não, nem sempre. Nem sempre é because they want. I can't remember more anything, but I thought have more things. But in this moment, I just can't remember that 2 things.
But this second is completely true. Like a lot of people think homeless, they are there because they want. And maybe it's not because of that. Like as we can see on the video, that guy, he got sick and then he lost his job. In USA, they need to pay a lot to stay in hospital. So the guy didn't have money to live anymore. So he went to live on the street. He's not there because he wants. He's there because this was the last solution, right? Não, pode falar.
I remember another thing. They are some problems with in mind, psycho problems. Maybe the people think they have a problem in your mind, but it's not usually because, like you say, like your example, o homem só tinha problema de saúde e foi parar na rua porque não tinha dinheiro, né? Nem é porque ele tinha algum problema mental, algo assim.
Yeah, we always think they are crazy too. Né? That's true. We see a lot of people, but I guess this thing is related to the drugs also, because like we think that they use a lot of drugs and then they become crazy and then they are crazy living on the streets. And sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes they're not crazy. They're regular people who didn't have opportunities. Né? And you, Hugo, what can you think? What stereotypes are associated with homelessness?
I understand stereotypes.
Estereótipos. Stereotypes.
Yes. Características.
Seria coisa que você pensa que todos que estão lá vão ter e não necessariamente todos têm. Um estereótipo.
Entendi. Eu tinha entendido como características. But tinha colocado eles, they are booger, ladrão, and sick, and I believe they abandoned the family. So, but the características are the sums, são as mesmas, né? About the body, dirty, sujo, and descalços,
Barefoot.
barefoot,
Barefoot, like this.
barefoot. Okay, and don't have access to the shower, the clothes, the food. So it's this.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of things that make them look like they're not people, né? Que são coisas que parece que as pessoas não são pessoas, né? They're dirty, people think they're crazy, they don't have a place to like clean themselves, and then it seems like they are not people, né? As pessoas acham que nem gente é. But it's not like that. So let's go to question number 4. Do you acknowledge homeless people when you see them? Why not? Like if you see someone and you can know if they're homeless or not. So Ugu, do you acknowledge homeless people when you see them? Why not?
Sometimes it's very easy to identify because they live on the streets. So if you see someone sleeping on the streets, so aquela pessoa, it is a homeless. But nem todas, né? Nem todas a gente consegue identificar. Mas, por exemplo, aqueles that live on squares, na praça geralmente tem ali uma fonte, e aí eles conseguem se limpar e tal. Então, if we see they on streets, fica mais difícil porque eles estão limpinhos ali, vamos dizer assim. So, some is not too easy identify.
Perfect. Yeah, I think like when you see them sleeping, of course, you know they are homeless. But like sometimes you see them walking on the street, like regular people walking on the street, and then sometimes you cannot know if they're homeless or not, right? You just see them walking like normal people. But I guess there's also something that they do most often is that they walk with a lot of things. Now, since they live on the streets, they don't have a house to put their things, right? And then they walk on the streets with a lot of things, muitas coisas. And then maybe we can associate this with this person being homeless. And you, Mariana, do you acknowledge homeless people when you see them? Why not?
Yes, because like you said, they sometimes are dirty, and the hair they with messy hair, or barefoot, or carrying box or bags, and sometimes supermarket troller. Eu pesquisei isso, but it's when you say a person with that characteristics, and with a supermarket troller, you can make the certeza they are homeless.
That's true. So let's go to question number 5. Who or what contributes to the homelessness crisis? Because it's a crisis, right? People living on the streets, it's a crisis. So who or what contributes to that? And are the homeless themselves partly to blame? Eles são culpados, os moradores de rua em si? Why not? So who is responsible for this? And if the homeless people, they are to blame. Tipo, eles são culpados também. E por quê? Né? So Mariana, let's start with you. Who or what contributes to this crisis?
I have 2 points about this, because it's difficult to say. The first, I thought the government has a A blame, culpado, é blame, has a blame because the because the out because por conta do alto valor das coisas, because the price of the things is very expensive and the impostos, the tax is very high. So maybe the person work but don't have money sufficient for keep a house or something necessary for live. And the other point, it depends of the person, because if you are in that situation, sometimes the people acostuma with the easy life and they asking for money, and the person gives the money for them and they don't want to do anything for out of that life. So me and the government maybe is the blame for that situation, because when I saw someone ask for money with a kid, I always do the money, but I start to change that, because if someone come to me and ask for money for eat something, I say no, I will buy something for you, eat what you want. And if the person said I want to rice, beans and meat, I go there and não sei como falar marmita. I buy a marmita, or if the person say I want to a salgado or a soda, and I go there and buy, but I don't give more money.
Yeah, I guess most of the people, they do that if they have time. Like if they're inside a car, for example, it's impossible if they ask for money at the traffic lights. But usually when you are on the street and people ask for money, it's easier to see they are people saying, no, I won't give you money, I will give you food. My mom does this all the time. And then there was a time that I was with her, and then a guy asked for her money, and then she told him that she was going to buy it. And then when she arrived, the guy has gone, like he disappeared. He didn't want food. He wanted something else. Né? He wanted the
But
money.
for example, that people from Bolivia or country like that, when I saw with kids, I feel so angry with the mom or dad, because the government give some support for that. They give money for kid, for mom, for dad, for family. And I feel so angry because the kids need to there on the school, and the government don't say that. The other family, it's mandatory to give levar a criança at the school. Why did the family, it's not the same? And they receive some money. So what they do with the money the government gives to them? And uma vez eu estava saindo do mercado, e contar a história bem rapidinho em português, eu tinha, tipo assim, uns R$ 5, era o último dia do mês, eu trabalhava o dia inteiro, saía do serviço, pegava um busão e ia estudar de noite. Eu tinha R$ 5, eu falei assim, meu Deus, eu vou comprar alguma coisa, que até sair meia-noite, chegar em casa, eu vou chegar morrendo de fome, né? Comprei uma bolacha e um todinho na época. E na hora que eu ia saindo do mercado, daí só via a mãe falando assim, vai lá, pede. Tipo assim, era, né? Aí eu falei assim, não tenho. Eu andei uma quadra com aquela sacola, eu falei assim, voltei. Falei assim, aqui, ó, toma, bolacha, todinho, come. Mas é porque a criança não tem nada a ver com isso. Eu acho que sei lá, é os pais, sabe? Porque geralmente tem ajuda do governo, eles dão valores tanto por criança, por família, para que eles consigam se estabilizar. E daí não leva para a escola, passa o dia inteiro ali naquela situação, então acho que falta um pouco de discernimento ali dos pais, sei lá, não sei. Não é falando mal não, mas Eu não consigo não ajudar, então eu volto, eu compro alguma coisa, sempre ajudo no que eu posso.
It's important to do your part, right? And I guess this thing of beginners is a little bit more complicated because most of the time they are mischeated to come here, né? Eles são enganados para vir para cá, né? And then there's a lot of things involved, like, you can come here and have a good job. And then they grab the passport, they grab everything. And then maybe kids, they have to work too, and not because of the parents, but because of the guy who hires them. So it's totally complicated, this thing of foreigners, né? Porque hoje estrangeiro é muito, muito complicado. Principalmente venezuelano, boliviano, né? People come from...
Nessa situação, nenhuma verdade é absoluta. Porque eu tenho,
não,
tipo, um monte de opiniões. Aí você me fala e fala, não, sim, faz sentido isso também. Então é difícil você tomar
yeah,
um
it's because we
negócio e falar
can't
assim, mas...
generalize, né? Não dá para
Yeah.
generalizar tudo. Casos e casos, né? Of course, there are some cases that they did that. They came here and then they just want to ask for money, don't put the kids in school, and that's it. But there are some cases that they are like forced to work in terrible conditions. I guess it really depends, né? Depende muito de caso a caso. And you, Hugo, what do you think? Who or what contributes to the homelessness crisis? Homelessness crisis. Are the homeless themselves partly to blame? Why not?
One question, are there statistics about the homeless in country?
Maybe there is, like here in Brazil, you say?
Yeah, in the world, ranking the países.
I'm searching here. I don't know if there are. Here there is a search here by country.
Na imersão passada que eu participei, vou falar em português. A gente falou sobre obesidade, e aí sim tinha um ranking, né? Obesidade e fome. Os países têm um ranking. E a gente viu que o Japão é o que menos tem obesidade ali, né? Nas estatísticas. So
I could find here the country there is that are the most homeless people is Syria. Syria, and then a lot of poor countries, né? Syria, Somalia, Nigeria, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Yemen, like most countries in Africa and Middle Eastern. Syria because of the war, right? As I can imagine, because this data is from 2020, so because of the war, and mostly like African countries. I'm trying to find here Brazil, but you can continue. Sorry, Hugo.
Okay, but for example, Syria, they blame the war. Yeah. Na Síria a gente vai culpar a guerra, né? Não dá para culpar o coitado que foi para a rua. But some cases the próprio homeless, o próprio morador are they blame. O próprio morador é culpado, né? Sometimes the pride, orgulho de não aceitar uma ajuda ou de querer mesmo estar naquela situação, né? So, de forma geral, if blame someone, se é para culpar alguém, I blame the system. That's different, the government. O sistema é diferente do governo, né? So, I blame the system.
I could understand, but like more or less, like who would be the system? What is the system? That's the question.
So, um exemplo, the rich, os ricos se tornam mais ricos. e os pobres cada vez mais pobres. So, a sociedade, ela, infelizmente, pelo menos aqui no Brasil, que é a realidade que eu conheço, acontece isso, né? So, muitas vezes, many times, se você encontra-se numa situação de homeless, você não consegue mais sair. O sistema, ele não te dá condições de você sair, né? Because this I talk, the rich, more rich, they pobre, mais pobre. So, basicamente isso que I understand.
Perfect. Makes sense. Makes sense. So let's go to question number 6. How do homeless people sometimes form their own communities? Are those who build relationships within homeless communities more or less likely to find permanent housing? Why do you think this? Like if they form a group, they form a community of homeless people, and they create relationships with each other, like they are more likely or less likely to find a house if they have friends, homeless friends, né? So let's see what you think. Hugo, are they more likely to find a house, less likely to find a house? What do you think?
If help for the rich, se a ajuda for de rico, não, o cara lá quer ajudar, I believe that more easy help one homeless. But if the government, one community is more easy identified. Se existe uma comunidade ali, acredito que para o governo é mais fácil de identificar and to help. Sei lá, boa vontade, né, dos governantes, destinar um espaço ali para fazer uma construção, né, algumas casas, alguma coisa assim do tipo. So, veio uma pergunta aqui. The homeless está relacionado com favelas? Seriam aquelas pessoas que não teriam condições e aí formam uma comunidade, mas não querem a situação. É claro que existem pessoas e pessoas dentro de uma favela. But para iniciar uma comunidade que a gente chama de favela, está relacionado com homeless, são aquelas pessoas que não aceitam a condição de moradores de rua e aí lutam para ter pelo menos um cantinho ali, e aí começam ali uma comunidade.
But this community here is not related to like favelas, né? Não, essas comunidades não são de comunidade de favela, comunidade tipo grupo de pessoas, sabe? But like, as I learned from school, historically, favelas were made because of slavery, né? Por causa da escravidão. Pessoas escravas foram expulsos da casa de senhor de engenho e então não tinham para onde ir, foram subir os morros da favela e criaram casas lá. That's what I learned. So maybe we can say there's a relation because they had no house back on that time and then they created their own houses on top of mountains, né? So maybe there's a relation about that. Eu acho que pode ter uma relação. But nowadays, I don't think so. Hoje em dia, eu acho que não, né? Porque hoje em dia já está lá formado, né? Não se cria novas favelas, I think. So I guess it's like that. But it's like what I learned. I don't know nothing about it, ok? Eu não sei nada. Eu tô falando só o que eu lembro, que eu aprendi e é isso. Não sei quase nada. But that's it. And you, Mariana, what do you think? Are those who build relationships with homeless communities more or less likely to find permanent housing?
In my opinion, they form the community in the sense of the security, for that place they are. Maybe it's more difficult they out of that situation because sometimes that person feels like abandoned for your own family, and they create new laços with other person like in the same situation, and because of that it's difficult to find a permanent house, because sometimes you want to take everyone and put in that place, and for that everyone needs to work, and sometimes the other person accustomed with the ease life, and if you, I don't know, it's difficult. It's difficult to explain that, but I thought it's for one person it's more easy to find a permanent house, because if you have a help for government like Bolsa Família, sometimes it's a good money, and you don't need to work registrado. You go to a house and asking, do you want I clean something? You terrenos, carpir terrenos, ajudar a help you with the buildings, and you can make money. I thought help, eu não sei, servente, acho que por day it's like R$ 120 ou R$ 70. Se você for fazer essas contas para 30 dias, você consegue manter ali uma kitnet e um mínimo ali de comida para você iniciar, né? Eu sei que é difícil alguém confiar em alguém que já vem morando da rua, mas eu acho que você consegue fazer um pezinho de meia ali, dar uma entrada, pagar já um aluguelzinho adiantado para sair dessa situação, sei lá.
Mhm.
Depende, se for uma pessoa só, eu acho que é mais fácil. Agora, se for mais de uma, é um pouco mais difícil.
If they have a family, right? It's more complicated. That's true. So let's go to question number 7. Why is so much attention given to the homeless during holiday seasons, such as Christmas or Thanksgiving? We don't have Thanksgiving here, but in US we have. And then here we have this only on Christmas. Like people give attention to homeless, like they give food, they give gifts, people go on the streets, do a lot of things. So why is that attention given on Christmas? Let's see, Mariana, what do you think?
I don't know, because it's time for compassion, for remember the family, or I don't know. It's a time different from the others. You feel more helpful, mais caridoso, eu não sei como diz isso, because everything around of us mostra-nos isso. And propaganda in TV and movies and everything, and maybe this condition your mind to help more the people more necessitados.
Perfect. Makes sense. It's a time where you feel most compassion to other people and then you want to do more things. Okay. And you, Hugo, why do you think this happens?
I believe that it symbolizes the moment, the time of the religious time. É uma data, um tempo ali religioso, né? Que é nascimento de Cristo, sei lá, Natal ali. So the people's have heart more sensitive. Inclusive, eu não sei como falar inclusive, alguns se aproveitam disso, né? Deixam mesmo nessa data, as pessoas estão com o coração sensível ali e tal, e aí se aproveitam. Isso é ruim, né? Você aproveitando da boa vontade da pessoa de, sei lá, de ajudar. But I believe that is the moment, the religious moment, and the religions preach, prega, and love for others. Amar o próximo como a ti mesmo, né? So, I believe this.
Perfect. Yeah, makes sense, right? Just like Mariana said, we are more caring during this season, né? A gente sente mais caridoso, mais carinhosos, né? Durante essa época. So we want to help more, right? We want to do more things. Even if it's connected to religion or not, né? Mesmo se estiver conectado à religião, não, né? People feel more caring about that. So let's go to question number 8. What are some individual actions you can take to help homeless people in your community? So, Hugo, what are some individual actions you can take to help homeless people in your community?
Promote solidarity, soups, clothes, promover uma ação solidária, né? Sopas, doação, give clothes que não servem mais. So, there are many options, many. I watched the many video YouTube you make. Dá para contar many. Se dá para contar
options, count many.
Yeah. So many options. But in my mind só tem sopa solidária e doação de roupas in the moment.
Perfect. It's a way that you can help. Either way, you're helping a lot of people. It seems like a small action, but you're helping a lot of people. And you, Mariana, what can you think? What are some individual actions you can take to help homeless people in your community?
Like Hugo said, I think packing some box lunches. Eu pesquisei aqui, marmita seria box lunch, ou lunch box, sei lá. Giving out some water, sometimes blankets, shoes and clothes, something like that.
Trying to help, doing what you can, né? I guess giving clothes is the most common one, what people do here in Brazil, né? É o mais comum.
Yeah.
Eu lembro todo final de ano a minha mãe mandava eu empacotar roupa para doar. So. And toys too, clothes and toys.
As
So,
necessidades básicas, né?
Oi?
São as necessidades básicas deles, né? Que seria, no caso, roupa e comida. É claro que a necessidade mais básica seria o teto, né? Mas...
Yeah. But it's harder for us to give that.
Yes.
Mas é isso, né? That's true.